Do you remember a storyteller we had in the first half, Graham Keast? He was talking about his son going out to the water and losing his thongs. Please welcome to the stage Jeremy Keast with our final story today.
Thank you. Yes, so I remember that story a little bit differently. Might not be quite as relevant for Sins of the Father, but hopefully we can bring it all together for you. To put it in perspective, we used to go down the south coast of Sussex Inlet every year for as long as I can remember. This year was a particularly bad year for me. I got my last bee sting. I was about 12. Anyone been stung by a bee before? Like, it sucks, right? Like, it's really bad. There's just nothing you can do. I was 12, I cried, and I haven't had one since. So I'm still convinced that they're really the worst thing in the world that can happen. I'm sure they're probably not anymore. We used to go hunting for crabs all the time. We were hunting for crabs, and so you need to pick up rocks, and then the crabs scurry away, and then you catch them. So there was me and my two cousins, and as he's picked up rock and he's throwing a rock, and he's picked up one about the size of that, except the thickness of that, and swung that rock and got me square in the forehead. So I had this big egg on my head. So you can tell it wasn't my year at this stage. And I had lost 3 pairs of thongs in virtually no time. And Mum bought me another pair of $4 double pluggers from Woolies and said, "Now, if you lose these thongs, your life will not be worth living." I remember that, like, even the look she had on her face. So I knew what the deal was. Anyway, I was out searching for crabs with my cousin Stuart. We're out there. It was a miserable day. We're doing our thing, and the tide was coming in or going out. I don't know what it was doing. I don't know anything about waves. The waves were going. Anyway, the waves came out and swept his thongs off his feet, and they just went out only to about where you were, not too far away. And he goes, "Oh no, my thongs are gone." And I was like, well, like, if my thongs are worth my life, I can imagine his thongs are probably pretty valuable too. So I was like, no worries. And so I ran up to the beach and just kicked my shirt off and chucked my thongs up on the beach and jumped in the water in the shorts that my sister made for me in Year 8 textiles class with Mrs. Mackenzie. We used to call her Junior Burger because there was a big fat Mrs. Mackenzie we called Big Mac. So skinny Mrs. Mackenzie was Junior Burger. They were really bad fluoro. If you want to imagine what the shorts were like, you know the shorts that kids are wearing today? Like, exactly like them. It's weird how they've come back 20 years later. Anyway, I've gone out swimming and somehow found his thongs pretty quickly, and I'm getting back into shore with his thongs, and as I get towards the shore, my cousin Stuart holds up one of my thongs, showing that the other one had been washed back out. I'm like, I'm going to be here all day. So I threw his thongs up and turned around to go and get my other thong, which, it was dark, it was miserable. I don't know where it was, so I thought, my life will not be worth living. I better get this damn thong. So I got out there, and when I was talking to Catherine about this, I actually thought, like, I don't even know how I actually found that thong. Like, needle in a haystack thong in the ocean, like, it could have been anywhere. And as I got out there and I got close enough to it, there was a blue bottle sitting on it. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I'll just wait out the blue bottle. This will be cool. And blue bottle's very patient, ladies and gentlemen. So finally, I just grabbed the thong and, got away from the stinger, thinking in my head how when you see blue bottles on the beach, you never just see one. So that's there's probably blue bottles everywhere. Probably hurt worse than a bloody bee sting. So I put the thong on my hand and thought, okay, sweet. Now I'll just turn around and go into shore. At that stage, I was there and I tried to catch a wave, and the wave was going to dump me. I knew enough about the oceans that I knew when you were going to get dumped. And it was going to dump me, and I thought, that's cool, I'll wait for the next one. This will be all right. And the next wave came, and it felt like it was going to dump me as well. So I thought, that's cool, I'll wait for the next one. I can do breaststroke for a while. And by that stage I was actually out behind where the waves were breaking. So I was like, this isn't ideal. And the rip was sort of dragging me towards the rocks, and I know you're not supposed to fight against the rip, but I wasn't going to get washed up on the rocks either, you know. I was like, this is not a great situation. It was about then I started thinking about how deep I was and how far out I was, and sharks, and it's like not in a really good headspace at the time. I thought, all right, I've had a good crack at this, but I'm not going to get there. So for those of you who've done swimming training as I had, you'd know that to call for help, you just put your hands straight up in the air. Don't wave it, because then people think that you're waving. Just straight up in the air, that's the sign for help. So I did that, and Stuart looked at me and waved back. I wish Auntie Joy sent him to swimming school. So then I just went, help! And he went, all right. So he left, and I was out there just sort of by myself with the blue bottles and sharks, and one thong on my hand and the other thong hanging onto my shorts, so the elastic had gone in a little bit, and one leg longer than the other in bad fluoro from Junior Burger's class. And that was pretty lonely. I remember that was, not too crash hot. Stu came back about, I don't know, an eternity later, probably 3 minutes. And he came back with help. He'd gone and got my sister and his brother. And I was far enough out at that stage that they were looking and they couldn't see me. I had to wait for a wave to go. And then I put my hand up and went, help! And I went, oh, yeah, there he is, way out there. So they went and got my aunt, which was a much better idea than my sister and cousin. And she came down, and it's amazing how much smarter she was than anyone else in the equation, because she walked about 50 metres up the beach to where there was like 5 surfers and just went, hey, come on, you come and save my nephew. And this surfer came out and just said something like, just purely Aussie, he's like, had enough of a swim, mate? I was like, yeah. And so I hung on to the front of his surfboard, and I remember this guy, like, I'd been out there swimming, and I was a pretty good swimmer. I could do like a minute 20 for 100 metres freestyle, which is pretty quick. I won the Southern Districts Championship one of those years. Thank you very much. I beat a guy called Glenn Miller, and he was a good swimmer. And he's nobody now. I was still trying to swim with this hand and trying to hold my pants up with... I was just getting in as quick as I could. And this dude just, cool as, just swam me in like I was not even there. And as I got into the beach, at this stage, everybody is there. Mum and Dad have been going down there to this same caravan park for 12 years at this stage. Everyone knew everyone. There's people who've brought down boogie boards. There's people who brought down surf skis. There's people who brought down like kayaks that don't even go in the ocean. Everyone's down there with something. People with lifesavers and stuff. And as I pulled into the beach, I remember looking at Mum and going, guess my life's worth living. And Dad looked at this surfer and goes, geez, mate, next time just run it by me, would you, before you save my son? So... cheers, Dad. Appreciate it.
Jeremy Keast, son of Graham Keast.